We are back on my 2017 CTS-V. When we left off last time, we were just getting ready for the salvage inspection for this thing. Even though I bought it from Copart with basically no damage and just the interior torn apart a little bit and a couple modules missing, it still has a salvage title, or was issued a salvage title, because the insurance company wrote it off as a total loss. Again, not really sure why. Maybe the previous owner was already paid out, or took a while for them to recover it, who knows. But either way, it now has to go through the New Hampshire State salvage inspection. It's my first time going through one of these, so let's do it together. There she is. Sticker of shame. Anybody want to buy some used, lightly used Cadillac window tint? Should fit 2013 to 2019 CTS or CTS-V. But yes, guys, the CTS-V did pass, but only by the hair on its chinny chin. It was really close. The inspector showed up. He was actually a super cool guy, a car guy. So we were chatting about this thing. And one thing that I completely forgot about and shouldn't have was, if you guys remember a video or two ago when we were going through this thing, trying to delete all the codes and figure out anything else or any modules that were missing, there was an airbag light that kept kind of coming and going, and it was like a seatbelt tensioner resistance error. I totally forgot about that. So I show up to the inspection. I explained that this thing was a theft recovery. It basically had no damage. So he's like, great, should be an easy pass. We get in, we fire it up. He's like, where's the airbag light? Does it go off? And it does something like this. See, right now it went away. Oh, no, it came back. Service safety restraint system. So at that point, he was pretty much like, yeah, you're done. You got to come back, which was a huge bummer because I waited 3 weeks for that appointment. He also was like, hey, take that front window tint off too. So at that point, I was like, all right, I guess we're done here. He was going to fill out some paperwork for me. I went to go shut the car off and the airbag light was gone. So I ran over to the guy and said, hey, the airbag light's off. We good to go? And he's like, buddy, peel that tint off. We're good to go. So I peeled the tint off. He filled out the rest of the paperwork, gave me the stamp. So now we're good to get a rebuilt title for this thing, which will be in the mail in a couple weeks. That should be it for the paperwork. This thing is ready to go. It's ready to be, completely road legal. So hopefully the legal process is done now. So now we can get back to work. Let's start with some parts that I ordered. All right, so if you guys remember from the last episode, the whole Q debacle here, I managed to severely mess mine up. My car has never had power to this HVAC section down here. And then I tried messing with the back here to see if I could get power to it and ended up messing up the whole screen here. Could not for the life of me find the correct part number, or the same part number as mine on eBay or anywhere from new GM dealers. So I found this one on eBay and it has everything I think I need, which is basically all the same connectors on here, wireless charging, that black connector there, the white connector there. It should match mine. And I looked up the VIN number of the car that this is out of. It's actually out of a 2018 CTS-V, so it's a year newer than mine. And it appears to be in mint condition. I just wiped it down, the thing's mint. And I got a great deal on it because it has a broken tab here. So it was only 200 bucks instead of like 300 or 400. And I don't think that that tab matters because the ATS-V uses different panels on the side here, these mounting brackets. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my CTS-V panels or brackets, and this thing should bolt right up. And hopefully this thing will finally solve all of my Q issues here. We can listen to the radio, navigation, control the seats, and most importantly, control the temperature and AC and all that. And then also got this brand new window switch assembly so that we can replace this worn out one here. This was bugging me. So this was like 40 bucks. I tried to get an original OEM one for like 70, but literally same thing. Every dealer said, no, we don't have it. We can't get it. So ended up getting this aftermarket one for 40 bucks, but pop that in, be good to go. All right, let's start swinging wrenches. Hey-oh! That's a good sign. Yes! Never had that working before. Alright, moment of truth. Yes! Yes, finally, some power down here. Yes, I think we're good. Finally! Woo! Alright, let's get this all back together. Check it out. Boom. Finally. Turn it down so we don't get any copyright here, but we finally have working HVAC. So clearly there was an issue with my original Q system with this whole thing here, but the volume works, temperature and all that works. If we go to climate here, actually, yeah, the car's not on. But you're going to have to take my word for it. I had the heated seat on earlier. That works. Everything works. Everything's good to go. Finally, even this little secret compartment you guys told me about. Boom. That actually came up while I was installing it. I think this is a wireless charger for your phone, but a lot of people online were complaining that the newer phones don't really fit in here all that well. And some people were even saying that you need to get like an updated module that goes under here, like this thing. needs to be updated, a new GM part number, so that your phone will charge, but not exactly a priority. We've got plenty of power here in the glove box if we just want to have a wired connection. The other question I had was Android Auto right now is telling me I need to plug in a phone. Where do you plug that in? Is that where you plug in down there? I don't know. We'll have to play with it. Or is there an update available for Q that does wireless Android Auto? Is CarPlay the same way? Probably. Not that I have an iPhone. Yeah, same thing. Not the end of the world. But yeah, finally, after way too many hours of researching part numbers and Q systems and all that, I was able to get a low mileage CTS-V Q system. Things in mint condition. And we should be good to go. But those of you with a keen eye might have already noticed this creeping in the background in a couple of other videos. Or if you followed me on Instagram, at Chris_Sullivan, you've already seen these. But you guys have been following the series, notice that this car has the comfort, as they call them, seats, not the Recaros, which is kind of a big bummer for me anyways. These seats have a ventilated option, and you'll notice that the Q system I got does not have the ventilated seat option. But that's not going to matter here in just a few minutes. Well, actually maybe tomorrow, because I think I might take this thing for a little drive tomorrow up north. Actually put some miles on this thing for once. But I think you guys know what I'm getting at, and that is next on the list. Also, window switch is replaced. That was easy. Boom, done. And when I bought the car, this rear V piece was kind of pulled up like this. Was never going to look right again, so started looking around on eBay for used ones and found a brand new one, brand new GM part for like 40 bucks, I think. So that just snapped into place. That's done. For the first time since I've owned this car, the interior is 100% back together. So now that it's like that, let's rip it apart again. This thing's a ripper! Woo! Man, I let this thing sit outside for one day, and it dang near looks like we painted it yeller. Pollen is terrible this time of year. Just a bad time of year to own a car in New England, especially if your car is black, like this one. Oh well, what's another wash, I guess. Anyways, this thing absolutely crushed like 100 miles today into the Lakes region of New Hampshire. Went up into the mountains, did some hiking. Thing did awesome. Cruises 85 or 80 or 65 if you're law enforcement. On the highway, no problem, comfortable, radio finally works. It seems like everything works. Car's done. Hope you guys enjoyed the CTS-V series. I'll catch you in the next one. Just kidding, of course not. Even though the car is done and we could technically cross this project off the list, now we get to get into the fun stuff, mods. And the first one that we're gonna do is one that I talked about in the very first video that was a deal breaker for me and almost resulted in me not buying this car. I got a solution for that. Let's get into it. Been hiding them from you guys for like a month now. Yes, guys, I finally got a set of the OEM Cadillac CTS-V 3 Recaros, aka the seats that were an option for this car. This car is basically fully loaded except for the Recaros, and it was custom ordered without them. Maybe the person who originally ordered this car was a bigger guy and just wanted the more comfortable seats, or the just the standard base seats. I don't know, but if I was ever ordering one of these cars, Recaros is the only way to go. And I always said if I was going to get one of these, the Recaros was a hard requirement, but obviously I got such a good deal on this car at the auction, and I did a little bit of research that said they might bolt in, might plug and play, so I decided to go for it anyways. Then came the hard part of finding a set of these. You guys were great. A bunch of people sent me, links to a couple different ones that were on either Facebook Marketplace or eBay or whatever. Problem with eBay was everybody wanted like $3,500 for them, which I didn't want the seats that bad. I mean, I wanted them, but I didn't want them that bad. The ones I could find on Facebook Marketplace were either in Texas or California, and they just seemed like they were gonna be an absolute nightmare to get here, and or people wouldn't respond. There was a guy who had a set in Texas, and I tried to get a bunch of you guys to reach out, and some of you did, so thank you for that. And the guy just didn't respond. So anyways, I was eating my breakfast one morning, and I was scrolling Marketplace as I usually do, and I found a guy parting out a black CTS-V. Of course, I immediately went to the pictures to see if the interior had the Recaros, and here these babies were. Ironically, I'd actually seen this car with these seats on Copart. It looked like it was lived in. There was like laundry in the back seat, and just basically it was in pretty poor shape, but the car had like 20,000 original miles on it, and the Recaros did look pretty nice. So I'm in southern New Hampshire, the seats were in Maryland. That's a 8-ish hour drive each way. I decided to go to Instagram and see if anyone was in the area that could check them out for me. And my buddy Justin, from way back in my Terminator Mustang days, said, I'm about an hour away. I'll go check them out for you, leave a deposit, whatever. So long story short, Justin was able to buy the seats for me, put them in his truck, get them back to his house. And then another person reached out, Brian, huge shout out to Brian, who's a viewer of the channel, said, I'm from Massachusetts. I'm currently down in Baltimore. I have a tow truck. I can scoop these things up for you and get them up to you tomorrow. So with a lot of planning and, texting and back and forth between myself, the seller, Justin, and Brian, I was able to get these seats here basically within one day. So huge shout out to Justin, huge shout out to Brian, but we've got ourselves a mint set of Recaros. These things are, here's the passenger seat. Basically perfect. They've been sitting in the garage, so they're a little bit dusty, but perfect all around, perfect bolster. Driver's side, same thing. A couple little creases in the leather there, but the 40,000 mile or 50,000 mile stock seats are in worse shape than this. This is perfect to me. This is absolutely perfect. Basically no wear on any of the high wear areas that you'd have in your typical sports car. Basically these two bolsters, they're perfect. Suede is absolutely perfect. The suede backs, excellent condition. These things are ready to go. And here's the best part. Like I said, these are $2,500 to $3,500 all day on eBay. Paid $1,000 for these. Of course, I threw a few bucks at Justin and at Brian for helping me out, but still, absolutely screaming deal on these things, so I'm psyched. The reason I waited a month to get them in is I wanted to make sure that the Q system worked, because apparently the bolster adjustments are supposed to show up in the Q system. So I just put these things aside until we got the Q system working, and now that it is working, literally next day, I can't wait to bolt these things in. Let's stop talking about Recaros, even though I love them. Let's get these stock seats out, and let's see what we can do about this ripped carpet in the passenger side as well. Easy. Uh-oh. What's this, a gas station blue pill? $2.19. I have to Google what that is. I'm just goofing. New boot goofing. 100% genuine ostrich. 3 payments. Kidding, of course. This is Brunt's Sullivan work boot, and it's sourced from steers right here in the USA. And I only had to make 1 payment on it, and it was an affordable payment because that's what Brunt's all about. Affordable, quality work boots designed with the blue-collar guy in mind. Of course, I'm partial to these ones just because of the name, of course, but you guys know that one of my favorites is their Omen soft toe. That is a slip-on, slip-off boot. Today, I'm actually wearing my OG Marin work boot, and I was really looking for that lace-up all-day comfort. No matter which model you choose, all Brunt boots have their proprietary cushioned sole, which is going to mean comfort right out of the box. No uncomfortable, awkward break-in period. Their soles are oil resistant, slip resistant, EH rated, and non-marring. Brunt is so confident in the quality of these boots, they're going to let you try them risk-free on the job site. For whatever reason you don't like them, just send them back. You guys can use my code ChrisSullivan10. That's going to get you $10 off your first purchase. Now, let's get back to that CTS-V. These things were basically mint, but of course we got them completely cleaned up and 100% mint. This driver's seat had some little stain or smudge or something right here. Got that out using some fabric cleaner, little soft bristle brush, and then a rag, and then just vacuum the whole thing. And then of course we hit them with Gion's leather ceramic coating, which is called Leather Shield. So we're gonna continue to keep these beautiful Recaro V3 seats in mint condition. So these are ready to go in. Brand new OEM GM passenger side carpet is in and vacuumed up. And even got the original seats, the non-Recaro seats cleaned up. The driver's seat had like a really nasty stain right here. Same process, the fabric cleaner, a little brush. got these cleaned up, so hopefully we can recoup a little bit of money here and try and sell these for, I don't know, $500, $600, $700. Anyone needs a mint set of non-Recaro V3 comfort seats, heated and cooled, shoot me an email. Anyways, it's time for the big moment. Let's see if we can get these seats in, and let's see if the internet is right and that they are going to be plug and play, and we should be able to see them pop up on the Q screen, make bolster adjustments, and see if they work correctly. I don't know. Let's get them in. I'm excited. Sweet. Look at that. Flick the little switch down here. Pops right up on the Q system. Boom. Although I don't hear anything happening, so what's up with that? What about this one? Alright, let's shut off that beeping. It's horribly annoying. Alright, Recaro swap is done. Super easy. So far, it seems like it's plug and play. The seats all work. I mean, forward, back, up, down, all that stuff works. I just saw the driver's seat do the easy exit recall, so, you know, it seems like all the memory functions are going to work. And then when you hit the bolster adjustment, which the Recaros have, and the standard seats do not, you get it pops up on the Q screen here, which is also covered in pollen. However, both driver and passenger seat, even though it pops up on the Q screen, I'm not getting any bolster adjustment or power to the bolster adjustment. So like, you know, the motor or whatever. So now I'm wondering is there a pin missing from the factory wiring harness? Because those seats obviously didn't come with the bolster adjustment, so maybe we need to add a wire somewhere. I'll look into that a little bit more, but if you guys have done this swap before and you know, let me know. But other than that, seats bolt right in, obviously. They look great. I have 0 airbag lights now, so something up maybe with one of the pre-tensioners over there, or maybe it was just a loose connection. I'm not sure, but plug and play, Recaro swap, motors work, everything but the bolster works, but I think we can figure that out. So, the biggest gripe I had with the interior of this car, now taken care of. Now let's get to what's next on the list. Cleaning? You cleaning? Good job. Hi. Huh. This carbon fiber must have been replaced under warranty once already. 2017. Manufacturer code of October 17, 2020. Very problematic stuff here. This one's 2021. Not too shabby for 75 bucks. So I think I briefly touched on this in the first video, but all of you V3 guys know the carbon interior trim on these things is a huge problem. They're constantly failing, peeling, cracking, discoloring. They almost all end up looking something like this. I think this was a front door, one of the front doors. This was the best looking one, and it had yellowed a decent amount. You can see the different shades on all of these. This was on the passenger side dash right there, or what was left of it. Pretty horribly mangled from the auction. And you guys saw the date codes on some of those pieces. A lot of them clearly had been probably replaced under warranty when this car was a little bit newer. That's how problematic these things are. So not that you could get those parts from the dealer anymore, I would assume, because apparently GM discontinues their parts after 14 seconds. But even if you could, clearly it doesn't fix the problem. So there is some aftermarket options available. They look really good. It's all real carbon fiber and it replaces the whole trim piece. Like you just get all brand new trim pieces. But like a lot of carbon fiber stuff, it's quite pricey. It's like $1,100, $1,200, $1,300. I can't remember. And I'm sure they're absolutely beautiful pieces, but I just couldn't stomach it just quite yet. I wanted to try the cheap route. And so far I'm fairly impressed. Got a full 7-piece trim kit off of eBay. These are basically a 3D double-sided trim kit. So not like a vinyl wrap, but not quite, you know, a real stiff carbon sheet. It's like a flexible carbon thing. This is real carbon fiber under here that is then coated in this like epoxy 2K stuff. So it's got a super glossy finish and looks like real carbon fiber because it is. But obviously it's just basically a sticker or decal that goes on top of the trim piece. But that's kind of the way the factory did too. You guys saw me scraping all that adhesive off. So all 4 doors, the piece here, the little piece there you guys can't see, and then the dash piece. Honestly, fit and finish looks really good. Obviously the factory pieces, if you look really close, and I want to nitpick this, again, don't mind all the pollen because I left the windows open a couple days ago. The factory piece would have curved around over here. Obviously, that's not going to happen with like something like this. But again, if I didn't tell you that, you probably wouldn't even notice. Other than that, they fit. I honestly think they look a lot better than the factory carbon. It looks like real gloss carbon fiber instead of whatever that yellow garbage was over there. So for 75 bucks right on eBay, took, you know, a week or two for them to show up, but I'm really happy with them. If I wanted to be nitpicky, this piece on the passenger side, which actually is the first piece I did, so I probably could have got it a little bit better, but this is where I did most of my learning. If you look at it from the side, it looks a little bit wavy, and that might just be the nature of these, but it also could be because I didn't scrape off enough adhesive. But again, 75 bucks. So if we can now put that $1,000 towards, you know, engine mods or tuning or cooling mods or blacking out emblems on this thing or anything else, I'm cool with that. So now the interior is basically 100% flawless. Other than needing a really, really good final deep cleaning, I think it's ready to go. So let's do that, and then let's also just finish out removal of this window tint. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going darker, and when I bring it to the tint shop, I'm gonna save them some work and hopefully myself some money and remove the tint from this thing while I've got the steam cleaner out cleaning this interior. So deep clean the interior, remove window tint. Let's go. This steering wheel, you probably can't even tell, it used to be suede, and I got something on the way for this as well to bring the last piece of the interior together. But in the meantime, this is absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna do what I can to try and make this a little bit more sanitary while we wait. Should be a good transformation. Oh, gross. Ew, 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 ew. Oh, I can't believe I touched that. That is so gross. Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh, look, it's clogging up the brush. I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna puke. I'm going to throw up. I think I'm going. Why did I touch this? Why are people so gross? Come on. Made a real mess of the rear window. Oh boy. We are in it now, boys. Oh. Well, I did have this interior pretty much mint. Shoo! Look at this thing. So much better than when we first laid eyes on this thing. The center console was all torn apart. Ripped carbon fiber there. No navigation hookup. It had trim missing. It was just kind of a basket case. Now look at it. Interior on this thing is basically done. You guys know I'm a big floor mat guy, so had to go for the Lloyd mats with the V and the CTS. I actually just wanted the V, but for some reason, some copyright reason, they literally will not do that for the V3s. But the V and the small CTS on the side, I think that looks clean. Talk about a transformation. This steering wheel was absolutely disgusting. Don't ever let your steering wheel get that bad. I'm not even a fan of suede steering wheels for that exact reason, and I'm a pretty clean person, but it obviously came back and looks really good now, but that was absolutely disgusting. I'm kind of ashamed that I even ever touched this thing without cleaning it, but just look at this interior now. The Recaros, the cleaned up carbon, the steering wheel, even though I got something coming to replace that, the center dash all together, floor mats, everything looks great up here. Back here is where it kind of went off the rails. Obviously, I'm preparing for my window tint appointment, used my steamer to get all this tint off. That was really easy. Got to the back window here, got the whole thing peeled off, and then I realized that I didn't even take the actual tint layer. I just took like the outside clear layer, which has left me with this absolute disaster, and this could potentially ruin my appointment tomorrow. So I had this soaking, the old trash bag trick. You spray some ammonia on the rear window and then cover it with a trash bag and leave it in the hot sun all day. So that's what I did. And you can scrape certain areas off with a plastic razor blade, but you also have to be really careful with a regular razor blade that you don't cut the defroster. So I'm gonna go back at it with the steamer in the garage tonight, hopefully get most of, if not all of this off, and then I can be ready for my tint appointment tomorrow. But there's been situations like this where it's literally cheaper to buy a new rear window than to try and get all this tint off. So I could have really screwed myself here, but like I said, I was using the steamer, so I don't know how else you could do this. That tint is probably just from like 2017, and it baked in the Memphis sun for 10 years. Other than that, back seat is pretty much mint, other than for some reason this seat belt will not retract. It's like the guy went to go pull on it to make sure that it was good, and then I pulled it the rest of the way out trying to get it to retract, and it obviously didn't do that. So I'm wondering if I now need to buy a new seat belt, or if I just need to unfortunately pull this interior panel apart and fix this seat belt. But we'll get to that. Other than that, interior's looking snazzy. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. I got to get to work right now, just slaving away on that rear window. We'll see how far I get, or if I just give up and reschedule the tint appointment with a new rear window or something. But that is going to be the next episode, is basically blacking this thing out. We got some paint work to do up here. We're going to black out the windows. Got to finish blacking out all this trim around the mirrors and maybe the door handles. Got some new badges for this thing. It is not going to be the same car by the time we're done with this thing at the end of the next video, most likely. But other than a couple of those little nitpicky things I got to take care of, interior check, basically done. Thank you guys as always for watching. I hope you're enjoying the CTS-V series. If you are, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Check out merch at sullivan-co.com. I got more stuff on the way. I'm working on that right now. Catch you in the next one.